Hello, I'm Tom Copeland, coming to you from my home in St. Paul, Minnesota. I've been an attorney, trainer, author, and advocate for the business of family childcare for the past 41 years. In my work, I've tried to help providers be more successful as a business. I've worked for 28 years in a childcare resource and referral agency and another 13 years as a private consultant. It's 2022, and now it's time for me to retire. As I look back, I want to share some of my experiences I've had traveling around the country, training thousands of family childcare providers each year. Some of my stories are funny, and some are not so funny. I've had a rewarding career and met many wonderful providers. I've been very grateful for the opportunities that were given to me and the support I receive from many people around the country. I'm a very lucky person. I've created these videos to share a little bit about myself and what I experienced over the past 41 years as I say goodbye. As a man working in the field of childcare, I'm often asked how I got started working with family childcare providers. In 1981, at the age of 31, I had recently graduated from law school and was looking for a job. I wasn't particularly interested in practicing law, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. A friend of mine suggested I apply for a job at the local childcare resource and referral agency, which was called Toys and Things Training and Resource Center. The job was to work with employers to encourage them to offer policies to help their employees balance work and family responsibilities. Why was I interested in this job? At that time, I wasn't married or planning to have any children. I knew nothing about childcare. But shortly before applying for this job, I saw a public television program about our information age. Most people's jobs were taking information, doing something to the information, and then passing it on to somebody else. So, even though I didn't know anything about childcare, and I didn't know anything about working for an employer, I saw this job as communicating information. My interests always have been in writing and communicating, so I applied for the job and I got it. I think being a man and a lawyer helped me get the job in an agency where 95% of the employees were women with backgrounds in child development. I grew up with 3 sisters, so I felt very comfortable working in a field dominated by women. As part of my job, I prepared reports about how employers could help their employees address issues such as sick children and school-aged children. I also wrote a series of booklets and a newspaper column to help providers and parents. I helped a large insurance company open their own childcare center. I worked on a campaign called Love for a Living to recruit new family childcare providers. For a while, I was the head of the childcare resource and referral department that helped parents find childcare. But my job didn't give me a lot of satisfaction. I was really interested in doing more to help family childcare providers. Why? I think it was because I felt that most providers needed a lot of assistance managing their business. I had attended workshops put on by the IRS to explain tax rules to providers, but they used language that was hard to understand. I had attended workshops put on by childcare providers, but the information they shared about taxes was sometimes wrong. I thought I could do a better job of communicating complicated record-keeping and tax rules. I didn't know much of anything about childcare, and I had only taken one class in law school about taxes. But I thought I could learn enough about the business side of childcare and then communicate it in a way that providers could understand. So, I began speaking on my own time at local family childcare conferences during evenings and weekends. Then I started doing some traveling across the country. This work grew until I wanted to turn it into my full-time job. I told my childcare agency that I wanted to drop my work helping employers and instead focus exclusively on helping family childcare providers. They agreed. So, in 1992, I created the Red Leaf National Institute, which became a division of Toys and Things. I named it after Red Leaf Press, which was the publishing division of Toys and Things and the nation's leading publisher of books for family childcare providers. I called the Red Leaf National Institute the National Center for the Business of Family Childcare. In addition to training providers, I started doing training of trainers and tax preparers. I wrote newsletters for members of the Institute and a publication on getting started in the business of family childcare. I put on my business card, Tom Copeland, the nation's leading expert on the business of family childcare. This was a bold move for me to make at that time. Nobody else was making this claim, and I thought that people wouldn't treat me as an expert unless I first started calling myself one. I guess I had a lot of nerve, but it worked. That's how I began my full-time work with family childcare providers. In 2009, I left the childcare agency to become a private consultant and continue this work for the rest of my career. However, there was one problem. My new job meant I would be spending a lot of time training providers in small workshops and at large conferences. However, I was and still am a strong introvert. I would rather work alone than meet people. I would rather sit in my office than go on the road and speak before 100 providers. So, how did I overcome my reluctance to be a public speaker? When I was young, my father always told me that to overcome being an introvert, I should take every opportunity to speak in front of people, which I started doing. Over time, I gained a lot of experiences that helped me to feel more comfortable as a speaker. Early on, I learned an important lesson. I remember when I was 15, I was asked to speak at my church on a specific Bible verse to a small Sunday school class. The class was for 30 minutes. When I finished my presentation, only 10 minutes had passed. No one had any questions. I turned to the teacher and said, "That's all I have." She said, "Well, then give your speech again." I was mortified and greatly embarrassed. From then on, throughout my career, my greatest fear has been to run out of things to say when training family childcare providers. That experience taught me a lesson. I always prepared a backup plan of something else to talk about if I needed to. As a result, I never again ran out of things to say, although I continued to worry that I would. By the time my career ended, I had given hundreds and hundreds of live workshops, speeches, and online webinars. I'm still an introvert, but I enjoyed every minute of it. Well, almost every minute. I will tell you about that in another video.